Investigative journalists, ICIJ, millions of leaked documents uncovered financial secrets of 35 current and former world leaders, more than 330 politicians and public officials in 91 countries and territories, and a global lineup of fugitives, con artists, and murderers. Nigeria was not left out. In Nigeria, personalities like former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, the acting managing director, Nigerian Port Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, a former minister and serving senator, Stella Odua, Governor Abubakar Bagudu of Kebbi State, Governor Gboyega Oyetola of Osun State, former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu, and Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun were fingered in the published reports. Although the Nigerian government was called upon by citizens and stakeholders to investigate those mentioned, nothing definite was done. 9. President Buhari signs PIB. Finally, the President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Petroleum Industry Bill 2021 into law.
The non-remittance of tax deductions by ministries, departments and agencies of government has led to...
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there's regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters. Nimasa bears responsibility for search and rescue, shipping development, and ship registration.
Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
I know, of course, that when you go to court, if your land is not registered, you cannot use it in court of law. Then issue of priority. I also want you to discuss priority. If your land is not registered, what happens when it comes to issue of priority?
Basically, why people run away from registering their titles, the cost implication. Because a lot of people don't even know. They just assume it's expensive, they cannot afford it. But I ask, why would you buy a land and you don't want to register it?
But you need to let them know why. What are the implications?
For your own interest, because basically, for instance, government may come tomorrow and want to revoke that title or that particular area. How do you ask for compensation if you don't have title?
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
If it's all been trending in the entertainment industry, then we'll definitely be talking about it.
We bring you the funny, controversial, and hottest topics making waves in the entertainment scene worldwide.
We also interview all your favorite celebrities and keep you locked down with fun segments and live performances. Tea Time, showing every weekday at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and of course the repeat at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 I dey pay.
The non-remittance of tax deductions by ministries, departments and agencies of government has led to the loss of tax revenue of 5.8 billion naira by the Federal Inland Revenue Service in 2019.
Away from tax, as we celebrate 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, we would be looking at the lives of Nigeria's military men.
As always, we'll also be going through the major papers and having a review of today's big stories. And when we also have a guest join the conversation. Welcome to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's a great time to be on your screen this beautiful Monday morning. I am Messi Boko.
And I'm Kofi Bartels. Nice to have you join us on what is a beautiful Monday morning.
All right, then, so
Mercy,
as usual, it's good to have you. Good morning
it's
to
the
you.
first time, and I'm glad to say I'm here with you.
Yeah, it's good to see
wow,
you.
Fantastic. It's going to be a great show.
Great show. All right, so we're going to be having 2 hours of great conversation. Of course, we apologize for bringing the show a little bit behind schedule, and that's due to some issues beyond our control. But it's a good thing that we're here and we're up and running. So yes, we start off with top trending, and usually these are conversations generating conversations generating reactions in different spaces across board. Now we start off with a 38-year-old lady who has actually declared an interest. I mean, she is the very first female to declare her intentions of wanting to become a president in 2023. Talking about Khadija Ukunu Lamidi. She's a media personnel and the founder of Slice Media Solutions. There's been a lot of conversation surrounding the 38-year-old female presidential aspirant, and the talk's been buzzing for a very long time. Now, some people are saying, under what political party is she vying as? Others are saying, oh, this is not an issue of, gender. It's not a gender issue. It's okay to have your intentions being declared. But at the end of the day, we're talking about good governance here. But others have also actually said this is actually very, courageous. It's very courageous of her to actually declare intentions, and it's a good thing. You know?
Absolutely. She's the first female to declare her intention to run for the office of president in 2023. 38 years, that's absolutely so young, compared to the other female contestants that we've been seeing. But the good thing about it is she's female, and she's below 40. So those are the positives that a lot of Nigerians, especially on Twitter, I think when talk about Twitter safely now that the ban has been lifted, they are really praising her. A lot of Nigerians are saying she's bold and she's courageous. I saw one post on social media, which I'd like to go to. Someone put up something saying, dear young people. It was like a letter, an open letter to young people. Dear young people, to wake up one morning and decide you want to run for president is an absolute joke. It's generated a lot of reactions. And the person went on to say, this isn't the student union government, SUG. You just pop out of nowhere and want to run for presidency. And went on to say, like, you won't even start from local government chairman. So these are some of the conversations going online, especially with the older generation, saying you have to go through the process and don't just stand up and think you can be.
So whoever put up that actually letter has, points there. Now, it's a good thing, like I mentioned earlier on, it's a good thing to see, females saying, I'm declaring for president. It's very bold, courageous of her. And apart from that, she's very young, like you also mentioned. This is a positive, but what are the reality? You begin to ask yourself, in a system, in a country where we have 2 dominant political parties, you have the APC or the PDP. And that's the fact, whether or not we want to agree. So you have several political parties and others, and that's what it looks like. So you ask yourself, under what party are you vying? And you also want to ask the issue, if she's saying she wants to toe, the way of independent candidacy. So another question would be, are there laws backing it? We know that there was a bill that was seeking for independent candidacy, and that has just gone through second reading. But what would happen afterwards? So all of that. So
it's quite a dicey one.
Very dicey.
Yeah, but she did say in her announcement or declaration speech that she's announcing herself for the political parties that are ready to take her on, or to invite her. And she has not yet said which political party. But I do suspect she's very aware that she can't run on her own. It remains to be seen where she'll pitch her tent. She is daughter of a former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or rather, former Federal Works Commissioner Lateef Olufemi Okunu, and so she has the pedigree, she has the heritage, Someone said something that she can't even run a WhatsApp group efficiently, and you want to run a country of 250 million people. So I think that's a bit harsh,
No. So, but some of these concerns are very real. As much as we would say it's very brave of her, very courageous. We're talking about having young people rule. But you see, the issue of governance has, for me, I really think that the issue of governance has nothing to do with whether you're old or young. So the argument, if we have younger people, we're going to have a good government. That's not a criteria for having good policies. Yeah, it's not about age. That's what I think. It's also not about a gender issue. Anyone can actually fail. So we're talking about, we need to see your pedigree, we need to see history and what have you. We need to see your pedigree, we need to see history, we need to see background and all of that. Of course, you want to also agree with me that she has, good academic performance and qualification, if you want to go by that. But you see the issue of the experience also. Yeah. I mean, some people would say it's okay to start from local government, you know, try, let's see what you can actually do. But winning elections goes beyond having a beautiful face and pretty degree and what have you. It goes beyond that. We're talking about numbers. We're talking about structures. Those who actually vote most times are not on Twitter. So you have the people in the grassroots. You talk about grassroots elections. How many people know you? Because you could be very popular, and when it comes to the day of the election, it doesn't translate into getting votes.
Ask Banky W. Our good friend Banky.
All right. Well, that's the much we can actually take. I mean, we're hoping that we can have enough time to talk about this, but of course, we'll definitely have a time where we sit back and have this conversation. We'll step on the brakes right now. When we come through, Off the Press would be the next thing on the table. Please stick around.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, you know, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, you know, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment on winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
I used to care for the world's opinion. I used to beg for validation. But the fire that burned in me was hotter, and the passion that lived in me had a voice of its own. So I stopped waiting and started to act. I stopped fearing and started to live. And when they thought I would fail, I stepped into my power.
Because my time is now.
Amstel Malta, be your best.
Welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Time for Off the Press. And we also have on standby Opunabo Nkutaria, who joins the conversation to make sense of some of the big stories. I'd like to start off with the Leadership newspaper, and as always, the focus would be on the top stories. Looking at the banner caption, 398 days to go. Pressure mounts on President Muhammadu Buhari, NAS to pass electoral bill. Governors not afraid of direct primaries. Sule is quoted, that's a rider. The people should have power to choose. That's what Reps is quoted to say. Nigerians need new laws before polls. Jega is quoted. Expunge direct primaries clause. IPAC is also saying, and provisions in new bill are pro-people. NBA is also quoted. Disquiet in APC over fresh plot to extend convention date beyond February. And ousted Malian President Keita dies at 76. PDP governors meet on zoning in Rivers. Groups unveil impact assessment on Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. Now, this is some of the headlines on the Leadership newspaper.
Move straight to the Daily Independent with the stories. The lead headline there. Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, may tighten monetary policy to halt reserves depletion. It will strengthen Naira and attract foreign investment analysts. More stories there. NAS turning Nigeria's democracy into plutocracy. Jaga, that's the former INEC national chairman there. Buhari orders major military operation to wipe out bandits. Residents flee as bandits invade Kaduna village. Gunmen abduct 15 persons in Niger community. That can be found on page 6 of the Daily Independent. Another story on the front page of the Daily Independent. 2.4 billion naira judgment debt. Supreme Court restores GTB's appeal against Innocent Motors. That can be found, the story on page 7 of the Daily Independent. Stakeholders query 35 top appointments in Aviation Agency's ministry. They say they smack of injustice may unsettle sector. Other stories on the Daily Independent very quickly before we move to the next paper. NDLEA intercepts 1.5 million tramadol tablets going to Kebbi, Kano. On page 29. Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, ousted Mali president, dies at 76. That seems that story is on other papers, a lot of other papers today. Oshun Guba 2022, why Arebeshola Oyetola's reconciliation failed. Arebeshola demanded return to single uniform Oyetola's faction. Oyetola's faction wicked, untruthful. Baderiwa, I think that's coming from someone in the other faction. With PIA, NNPC will earn more revenue for Nigeria. This coming from Ahmed Kari of the NNPC. Those are stories on the front page of the Daily Independent.
Away from the Daily Independent, we check out the Nation newspaper this morning. The bold caption says, Buni APC chiefs in crucial parley on zoning convention. Underneath, PDP, nobody can stampede us on presidential ticket. Opposition governors meet. And United Kingdom scraps tests for unvaccinated travelers from January 26. Jega urges National Assembly to drop direct primary clause and states to share $750 million for fiscal transparency. Buhari renews crackdown on bandits ordered to military. Quite interesting. And President rides Niger government on directive to defense headquarters. Gunmen on bikes sack Kaduna village. And you also have Bola Ahmed Tinubu hopeful to end insecurity. These are some of the headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning.
Let's go straight to the Punch newspaper next. And with these leading headline in the Punch newspaper, fuel subsidy crisis, states kick as NNPC continues deductions. FAC meets Wednesday. Deductions not justifiable, says Delta. It's injustice against Sekiti. Commissioner, states federal government may clash. Subsidy not under our control, says NNPC. It's interesting to see how things will pan out in the coming days. More stories from the front page of the Punch newspaper. NDLEA intercepts Kebbi, Kanu, bound 1.5 million tramadol, seizes Lagos ports drugs. Ocean prison inmate's wife gives birth to triplets. Family seeks help. PDP governors meet, decide on 2023 zoning to advise National Working Committee. Very interesting story there. Nnamdi Kanu, Southeast goes governors, Igbo leaders to meet Buhari, insist on political solution. Electoral bill takes front burners. National Assembly resumes on Tuesday after quite a long recess. Nigeria's debt stock hits 39.6 trillion naira in 11 months, according to reports. Another one from the front page of the Punch newspaper. Insurance firms' assets hit 2.09 trillion naira amidst recapitalization suspension.
Well, we'll step on the brakes now, and when we come through, the newspaper review continues right here. Please stick around.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of gun.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Whether you like it or not, the dryness and dust is coming. And this time, it might not give up that easily. But do the people have the power to shake it off?
Well, of course they do, and you do too. Kick dry skin to the curb and get smooth, intensely nourished skin with Nivea's deep moisture lotions and lip balms. Follow the story online, #DoneWithDryness.
I know, of course, that when you go to court, if your land is not registered, you cannot use it in court of law. Then issue of priority. I also want you to discuss priority. If your land is not registered, what happens when it comes to issue of priority?
Basically, why people run away from registering their titles, the cost implication. Because a lot of people don't even know. They just assume it's expensive, they cannot afford it. But I ask, why would you buy a land and you don't want to register it?
But you need to let them know why. What are the implications?
For your own interest. Because basically, for instance, government may come tomorrow and want to revoke that title or that particular area. How do you ask for compensation if you don't have title?
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God. The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. From the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, but another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
First time and all that.
Welcome back to The Breakfast on PlusTvAfrica. It's time for Off the Press, and we have Opunabo Nkotaria who joins the conversation now. It's good to have you join us this morning.
Good morning, Mercy. Good morning, Kofi.
Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, viewers.
All right, so let's start off with the Leadership newspaper, and the banner caption on the Leadership talks about the pressure that's mounted on the president as well as the National Assembly to pass the electoral bill. Is there a possibility that that's going to happen before the 2023 election, understanding the fact that we need at least 1 year before INEC can actually act?
I impugn that possibility because I've been issued, if you remember, even on this program, I stated my doubts. I knew that Mr. President was not going to assent to that bill. But I foreshadowed it, let me put it that way, because I didn't have a discussion with him. So let me just say, foreshadowed, not that I knew, that he wasn't going to sign that. The issue of the direct primaries was only a strategy. It was just an excuse. Otherwise, all Mr. President would have done, like he did with the PID, was just expunge that and remit that to the National Assembly to address, while he would have assented to the other aspects of the bill. But I knew Mr. President was not going to assent to that bill, so it didn't come as a surprise to us when he sent it back to the National Assembly on the special reason of direct primaries. Now, if you say, so it moves on the National Assembly right now, as we speak, to work on that and send back to the President. But I think when they went on recess, if you remember, I also said on this very program that recess was for them to go back and renegotiate, to them to go back and agree on how best to go about it. Otherwise, when you have such a crucial issue, there was no sense in the National Assembly going on recess without addressing it. But they did, because they wanted to resolve the quagmire between the federal government and the National Assembly, the executive and the National Assembly. So in synopsis, my dear, I strongly believe, I have that conviction, that just as in 2019, Mr. President is not willing to sign that bill into law. We might end up using the old Electoral Act. But let me quickly state that I am yet to decipher the reasonableness in that, because everything, say the direct primaries, which more or less was foisted on political parties, everything in that bill is in the interest of Nigerians and will enhance our electoral process.
Mr. Nkutare, will it be fair to say that that issue of direct primaries, or the provision in the bill, the clause, was foisted on political parties, bearing in mind, for instance, in the front page of this newspaper, that the House of Reps members are saying that the people should decide, and the members of the National Assembly are the representatives of the people who are there to make laws on the behalf of the Nigerian people? Is it fair to say that they are foisting this clause on the political parties?
How many National Assembly members conferred with their constituents before they came up with that? First and foremost, it negates the whole essence of democracy. In a democracy, there has to be freedom of choice. Now, I might want to be a member of a political party because that political party, the modus operandi of that political party is in sync with my own belief and conviction. I might want a consensus candidate. I might opt for an indirect primary. I might opt for direct primary. Let the various parties be allowed to operate the way they so desire, and it is now the choice of Nigerians to join a political party based on its modus operandi. Now, when you say every political party must operate direct primary, then you have restricted the choices of Nigeria, which is antithetical to democratic principle. So I strongly disagree when you say every political party must have the conduct direct primary. No. That will be draconian. What the National Assembly members are trying to do is to clip the wings of the governors. forgetting they were beneficiaries of that system they are fighting today. But principally, what they want to do is to clip the wings of the governors. Now, even direct, consensus or indirect, you cannot clip the wings of the governors because they have the financial muscle. And we all know that politics is all about financial muscle. For now, it has not to be so, but for now in Nigeria, that is what it is. And you will not, for your own selfish interest, want to deny the other person of his right. That is wrong. So let the political parties decide what the mode of primaries, whether direct, indirect, or consensus. Let the political parties decide. The most important thing is that there is an accommodation. An agreement was reached. It was not foisted on the people. That is the most important thing. So I strongly disagree that every political party must adopt the direct primary. That is antithetical to democratic norms and practice.
Okay, so let's move away from the issue of direct primaries and the bill now, and then talk about security. Well, the president has renewed crackdown on bandits and has given an order to the military. That's on the Nation newspaper. And that's also, you also have another on the leadership where the president orders major offenses against the bandits. I also remember at the time where there was a report recently where the president is quoted to say that we're hoping that God would answer our prayers as regards the fight against insurgency in Nigeria. And this is a government that promised, security of lives and property as 2015. So where does that really leave us?
We have a government that is playing havoc with the lives of Nigeria. We have a government that is not sincere in this war against banditry. And I have enough proof to bolster my assertions. One, we talked of Gumi that is still moving freely, making inflammatory statements with impunity, while others are in detention. Two, we have the issue of the former service chiefs that were rewarded with ambassadorial appointments for their ineptitude and embezzlement. I did not say so. I am only amplifying what the NSA said and what their own successors, the present service chiefs, including the chief of defense, have said, that they cannot find any equipment that monies were allocated for. They said it. I did not say it. And these same characters were rewarded with ambassadorial appointments while the crisis first time. So the federal government has never been serious. Forget the high blood pressure of deceptive rhetoric and an enemy of concrete performance. That is what is happening. They just mounting piles relevances. Oh, now he's making supplications unto God. That is good. We all must make our prayers to God because it's the Alpha and Omega as a Christian. But God will only help you when you also help yourself. You cannot not read for your exam and say, oh, God, help me to pass the exam. You must be an idiot. You must be a useless idiot for you to ever think that way. And that is what is going on in this country. This is a government that is insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. A government that will tell Nigerians to defend itself. That is repudiation of obligation. That is admission of the fact that you have failed. So right now, we don't even need to know what the president is saying. We are not interested in what the president is saying. He has said, go ahead and defend yourself. I can no longer defend you. The chief of the Minister for Defense said the same thing. This that you have to defend yourself. These bandits have taken over local governments in the north. The governments are crying out. So what are we talking about? We are no longer interested in the rhapsodies of Mr. President. We just pray that the situation does not really get out of hand because the tenuous ligations of the encasement is threatened on daily basis. So we pray that it doesn't really get out of hand, the situation where there will be anarchy, the reign of anarchy across the length and breadth of this country before this man exits office come 2023, next year. We just pray because the situation gets worse by the day. It gets better by the day. So I'm no longer interested in what Mr. He gave an order to the former IGP. He ordered him to relocate to Borno. He went to Borno 2 months after, only to be told that the IGP never slept in Borno. What did Mr. President tell Nigeria? He said he was not aware. And that he was going to investigate that when in Abuja, when he got back to Abuja. He never did, and that was the end of it. We never heard anything about that again. So if an IGP can disobey the commander-in-chief, then what are we talking about? It has just been politicized. You just get up the mouth. Don't worry, we are going to do this. Oh, don't worry, we are going to do that. Monies are being allocated.
Yeah, Mr. Nkotare.
For this thing. And they are being embezzled on daily basis.
Mr. Nkotare, I mean, we're well aware of what the president said in his very now famous speech, where he said, you know, he's relocating the command and control center, you know, of the entire military establishment to the north. Looking at the failures, as you've highlighted, is it about just the executive of the country being the president? What about the military itself? You know, what blame do they have in all of this? Because it's like saying, oh, you have a football team, and every time the football team loses, it's all about the coach. But the players at some point also have to take some responsibility as well.
Well, using... Yes, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Okay. Using your own analogy, when a football team wins, who takes the credit? The coach. When it loses, who takes the blame? The coach. If today we have a robust economy and there is peace, there is tranquility in the land, who is going to take the credit? Mr. President. So he should also take the blame. That's the truth about the boss stuff at his table. That he cannot extricate himself from any blame or any credit. He cannot. The boss stuff at his table. This service chief you're talking about, who is in charge of the service chief? Don't forget, these were characters that wanted, that give them just 6 months, 3 months, 6 months. They were going to overwhelm, contain banditry. Then it was not as bad as this. But the situation was under them. And this is a former general. A former general. And that was what they used during their campaign. To delude Nigerians that as a one-time general, he has what it takes, the magic word, to contain this situation. The level got worse. So you cannot execute Mr. President.
Mr. Nkotare.
Today.
Yes. You've talked about the fact that the president is a former general. Well, one of the stories there, of course, report that Tinubu is saying he's hopeful to end insecurity. So I'll just end up with that before Mercy comes back in.
Oh my God! Please,
do you think?
Let's be serious about all this. Please. Don't bring jokers and talk about Tinubu end up together. Let him end up his health. Please go ahead.
So you think Tinubu can do what he's saying he will do, which is to end the insecurity as a solution, since the soldier or the former general has failed?
Why is he not advising Mr. President? He gave birth Mr. President. Why is he not advising him to do what he knows he can do better? Why is he not advising Mr. President? That's what Mr. President. So what are we talking about? This is now like the Trump is like a campaign. It's a mantra. I will address insecurity in this way. Insecurity in this way because people are dying. If there is hunger. People are hunger. If insecurity is causing the death of, let me say, 70 to 80 Nigerians, hunger is the one causing the death of the remaining. We are aware of the economic appreciation. What are they doing? Is it this of Britannia moving about with bullion van? Is that how you're going to address insecurity? Let's discuss serious issues, please. Please go ahead with your question. Let's address serious issues. Good.
All right. Well, this is...
I'm listening to you. I'm listening. Are you done? Oh, my God.
We have to go now for the want of time, but I mean, it's always a delight to have you on the show, and we look forward to having more of this conversation some other time. Thank you so much, Opunabo Nkotare, for sharing your time with us this morning.
Messi and Kofi, people are owing me 1 hour.
We promise we'll look into that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time.
Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's it on, the paper review. We
Very
look forward
explosive.
to very explosive. We look forward to another time with Opunabo Kotaria. At this point in time, we're heading straight to the second conversation. We'll be looking at the issue of tax evasion. Of course, at this point in time, non-remittance by government agencies, ministries and departments. Please stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Events, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. Relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power, and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakare, Sundays, 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We head straight to our first conversation where we look at the issue of tax evasion. Now, Nigerians have actually witnessed a pattern of disturbing disregard for obeying financial obligations by government agencies. And that's really, really saddening at a time where you see increased taxes and tariff, not even minding COVID-19 and all of the hardship that Nigerians have to go through. Of course, you have government agencies not obeying and doing the needful. That will be our conversation.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, sir. Let's start off. Let's share your thoughts. I'd like to ask you what your thoughts are on this particular issue. I mean, talking about the fact that we have lost 5.8 billion naira tax evasion by government agencies, ministries, and departments. What are your thoughts on this?
I think 5.8 billion naira is an understatement because this practice is very pervasive across the ministries, let alone looked at their portal and they didn't see the remittance. So my PA had to go back to get the receipt from the ministry and took it to the FIRs will have to face the fact that they can't get tax clearance because somebody there has not remitted it without their tax clearance. That is grossly unfair, but it's a widespread practice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenife. I mean, so this is quite disheartening to see that the Federal Internal Revenue Service goes hard on federal government.
Well, the thing is that when a company complains to FIRS, the duty of FIRS is that there's complicity between FIRS and whoever else are involved in this. And I have to tell you this, that I don't think it is a EFCC or a EFCC. Then it means that there's complicity between the parties involved in this. You know, we've known cases where an accounts officer opens an account and keep on paying some money into those accounts. And these are money that have been deducted and need to reflect on the...
And you have all the...
Well, the thing is, that has been reflected. They just simply refuse to give you your clearance. I think that's very, very unfair. And we need to look into this. It is just not acceptable that we will have this scale of fraudulence.
The House of Representatives, the Senate, ministries like the Ministry of Agriculture. I mean, some time ago we heard that the federal...
To pay you. It is at the point of payment for the contract that they make the deduction. That deduction cannot be foreseen because, you know, for you to deduct a source, what the government can only deduct is risk. You know, we're talking about criminal activity that certain money has been deducted and is clearly against the law. There are regulations against this. Is a criminal activity, not if you're not paying electricity bill, then that's okay. They can withholding tax, keep it, and then we'll put it in a head and use it to do more. I'm not sure that is the way. This is a criminal activity, and individuals that have done this should be persecuted.
So it's really that it has to do with government. So how do we overcome all of this non-remittance?
Targeting with the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. Or of course, you can argue that those remittances of those things are primary revenues for FIRS. You can actually argue that, and they themselves, the law says you have to pay 80% of your operating surplus, failing which we can come and clamp down. Office of the Accountant General will clamp down on your income and take 25% from source. So, you know, those are the three ways that they are taking these monies. But you can see these monies coming in for as primary income.
The headlines from the papers are using the word loss, Mr. Kenife. Are we to take it that these monies cannot be recovered? I mean, of course, you've said that.
In their portal. And then when they see those, and they will ask you to go and get your account. You get your account, your bank account, they will also see some of the transactions, and they start looking for tax that was paid or withholding tax that was paid in relation to those deductions. And that's where they find out, and they do nothing. You know, that's the criminal side of it. They do nothing. You tell the person, okay, there's no evidence in the portal that you did this deduction was made. He said, okay, all right, okay, I'm coming. He goes to the accounts department, takes his invoice to them, say, look, you made this deduction. I need a receipt for this. Internal revenue is what they will.
So, sir, should we say that this is a case where we can just say that all hope is lost because government would have to...
For the electricity bill. If he hasn't got the money, he hasn't got the money. If it's not in his budget, it's not in his budget. You can always have an arrangement for him to pay, you know, as a window or, you know, submittal payment. But that's a different thing. When, according to the law, a certain account, is that, are you going to blame the department? You look for the people who are doing this. The government department doesn't have those bank accounts, 35 bank accounts, to pay people's... It's individuals inside these accounts departments that are doing this in collusion. So when you see this, you take action. A colleague of yours somewhere has refused to pay it in or has diverted the money. And the client goes back and gets a proper receipt to show that he has paid it, and you do nothing except to insist that he should go and pay it again.
Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Federal College of Freshwater Fisheries Technology. I don't know how many people knew that existed. We hear an agency that tax and Nigerians are paying withholding tax and pay as you earn deducting the taxes. Who should be held accountable? To
wherever you want to refer it within the system. So that should be now a matter between FIRS and the appropriate agency. But you must give credit. And once that evidence has been provided, you should not chastise the third party. You should now refer this to an internal mechanism within the service for resolving this. Or
the presidential ease of doing business initiative and all that. There seem to be